interacting with people, when you're interacting with particular knowledge, when you're saying, wow, this is so easy, I can use this tool to actually solve this particular problem. But what's your attitude? So attitude is very important. You need to have a growth attitude, positive attitude, risk-taking attitude, entrepreneurship attitude, which is this entrepreneurial class is about. So when we look into how entrepreneurial thing can actually apply to social, which might be a topic, which might be a knowledge-related thing. So we pick up some skill, entrepreneurial skills, pitching is one of them, good presentation is one of them, doing research is one of them, so on. And then there are attitudes, and then you have, I don't mind trying, going out, try some of the things that we talk about, and we try to push you to. You just go out for your particular topic, go and find more, understand more, and interact with more people and so on. So either the knowledge is there, but you need the attitude to actually go for it. It might not be successful, we don't know how far that will go, but it's also the attitude how you actually drive it. So after we look into that, these are the three areas that's originally designed. Okay, so these are the skills, different skill areas. So when we first sit down to actually do it, we look into the 2 diamonds, which how do we actually integrate that into all the parts and so on. And we actually design the course into half and half. So the first diamond is something that we focus on the problem. Second diamond, we actually focus on the solution a little bit more, what skill we can actually work on them. And then we can look into using different tools. We talk about digital marketing. We talk about how do we actually interact with people and convert them. We talk about makers, making hardware, making software, making prototype to actually do it. We talk about how do I go out to actually find resource to actually solve problems and so on. So all these are small topics there, but we can't integrate that into the coursework. And then these are the potential knowledge area, which might be related to where do I get the money, how do I get it, and then how do I go through working with reading books, doing different things and so on, and design thinking. How do I apply that to a particular situation and so on. So over here, obviously, these are the potential attitudes. Attitudes also actually likely this should be put over there. The sustainable development goal. All these are more in the knowledge area. But how do am I trying to do it? Some of you will visit that. We talk about after the course, you want to continue doing some of these projects, but you might take a job and then you might slash. You're actually working on something that's also socially related and so on. And then social career, one of the projects that we talk about, it's actually using working and having a separate parallel career working on and so on. So these are the different tools that we actually go in. So when we look into that, what we did, this is how the course is organized. So we're here. So, but it's basically two different parts, which are the problem definition and the solution thing. So what we do is we actually put in this 2 diamond. And when you think about by the end of the first half of the midterm, we were dragging our feet a little bit because I don't want you to jump too fast into the solution. Because it's very important that you actually keep on having this particular. I would like you to remind me to remember that. Usually we move very fast, but for this particular purpose, we actually want to slow down. Because most of the things that we do today, in most of your class and most of your future work, you jump into here very quickly. You think you go online, do one search, and then you figure it out. It's never like that. You need to walk the path of the homeless people. You need to go talk to the elderly before you really understand what's going on. I'm dealing with the carer. I'm not dealing with the elderly people. So how these is being defined, so that it will actually help you to actually move on to things and so on. So what we did is we actually designed so that the first part of the course is all these stuff that we can't pack in. So the first part was actually very busy. We were actually looking to some of these stuff, go and visit, do different things, and then learn me so all the different things that we actually kind of go through. The second part is actually then we start looking into what are the things that we can do. Obviously next week we'll be presenting potentially to actually get some funding, and then we create prototype, and then we don't have time to actually create hardware prototype, but that's another course that potentially you can take. You can actually go and work with the Makers Lab and actually create stuff out of it, or actually take course that actually focus on doing hardware prototyping. Or I can do software prototyping, or I can do education prototyping. All these different things are things that we can work on to actually do. So all together, it's a very cramped class. A lot of things happen and so on. But that's how we design it. So you feel like there are many knowledge-related things going on, or there are many skill sets that potentially touch on, but you don't have enough time to actually learn it very fully. But that's the idea. hopefully the skills you can actually move on beyond course, the next course, or beyond school, to actually keep on picking up new skills to actually work on things and so on. But having the right, potentially this course have this element about everything's related to social problems, social issues, or global issues. So potentially, hopefully, you have a chance to actually pick up a little bit more of those. Okay, so that together we can't tie the whole course together. Okay, so and again, this is how the diamond works. So the first diamond is focusing this part on the problem definition. That second part is actually focusing on the solutions. And then we don't have enough time to actually cover too many solutions, but you get a feel of what can be done. And those skills likely you can actually learn after in different course or beyond university. So the concept here again we are kind of put it there and actually flip it and actually put it up there. Okay? So the two diamond, not very important to emphasize again. There are different ways to actually look into it, but let's say I was at two government departments. Everybody's talking about this thing. So design thinking is beyond STEM. I think this is even more important. So how do you use design thinking to actually start looking into things and so on? And then many corporates, governments, educations are actually looking into this too, which is the first part, focusing on the problem, ideate, come to a point, merge it, and then move on to actually try out. And this trying out, it's how do I actually create a new company, create a new initiative to actually try out something. So try out, create something simple as a prototype to actually do it. So later on this week, next week when we are talking, when we're presenting the final projects, and also we will potentially some of the project might go to actually get some funding, and those will be trying out to create that prototype. There are all kinds of these fundings out there in Hong Kong, in social area. Next week, the SIEF will do one of those. If you are working on a startup, same thing. There are many of these small startup funds that actually helps you to actually work on this prototype. Last week in the USD hack, that's something similar. After you do some hacking, create something, and then they have the funding. Not a lot, but that helps you to actually try this out a little bit more. So that's the model for entrepreneurial thing. In this particular case, social entrepreneurial thing that you can actually try out. And these are things that you're working through. And also, potentially you can have a full-time job actually doing that. Or potentially you can actually take this as a potential summer thing or your first career to actually try out things and so on. This is very different from my time when you first want to try out, not even my time. This is very different in the last 4 or 5 years. When we have all these simple funds that allows you to actually try out things. When you want to try hardware, you can go to some shop, they have $600,000 that can actually if you're Hong Kong citizen. And then in Cyberport, most of the people that I recommend go over and get $500K. And that's frankly 3 years of salary already for a team of 3 to 4. So all those are possible. And for social, again, also have social companies that can do it. So these are different ways that you want to drive and actually try out things through and so on. So it's actually different ways of talking about design thinking. I like this one more. So it's basically using the two diamonds to actually drive it. Okay? So SIEF we talk about. That's the thing that we were looking into. Okay? Every week it's actually organized about like this. Every week we hope that we organize it so that you have a chance to actually, other than listening to me and Aki, you'll be able to actually meet up somebody, usually some entrepreneur, some social worker, some social innovator out there that try out different things. I think we'll make 7 or 6 of people. And then some of these might be in different fields. So they might be doing digital marketing, they might be a CEO for very large NGOs. So, but they are all trying new ways to actually impact the society through social media. So let's say Vincent basically it's completely marketing. New way of defining digital marketing. He's a guru in just digital marketing. I wasn't there that day also. But basically he was focusing on how to use digital marketing to actually deliver positive things. And even if we're not talking about this, when we go out to actually talk about using digital marketing to handle crisis, which nowadays a lot of crisis, a lot of PR crisis actually happens because suddenly somebody finds something and they put it online. So your corporate, your personal reputation, your brand might be made. So So basically, he actually talks about how and develop on how to actually use social media to positively bring out your information. And because of the new world, it's a lot more transparent than the web one, because other people can't know who you are by checking out all the different things and so on. So these are tools that we need to start looking into, and that alone can be a major that you might want to focus on. Again, Red Cross, completely different kind of NGO, and then completely different kind of people, 30-some years, 20-some years of social worker, but starting to look into the whole impact, instead of just delivering Red Cross every year, just the first day every year, they look into war zone, they look into all these new things that we experience, and then they are using that model to actually impact more people, using education. Education come back and forth a lot, using how online, offline, experience-based education to actually deliver an impact. So advocacy of the important topic is something that's also very, very important. So these are tools that we kind of go through, YWCA and so on. This guy didn't come, but I speak for his stuff, which is social media. So what we did is we used this model. So we talk to people. You've been able to actually be there and talk to those people, and then reflect on it. So basically, we do a chit chat with them, and go through it. Then online you do the reflection. So this process we go through it every week, even though on different topics and so on. And hopefully we come back to that reason why they actually do it. Because that skill you actually look into, there are digital marketing skills, there are social media skills, there are education skills, and so on. And then, but also the key is actually why they do it. Why is there the demand? So why would they actually choose to do it? That's something that's hard for me to tell you. But after you experience with them, after you get a feel of how and why these people are doing it, one thing about the social innovation thing or social enterprise thing is actually usually is defined that way. So when in the old times when we start doing social stuff, usually the NGO do it. So the government gives the money, the Jockey Club gives the money, the NGO do it, and then so keep on doing that and so on. So that's the whole model. Chasing some KPI, some numbers, we pay you so much money, how much money to serve one person. That's usually how it goes. But now using all kinds of new tools, online sharing economies, digital marketing, experiential learning, all these different tools, you've been able to actually change the model a little bit. Potentially also sustain it in the sense of hopefully more people are willing to actually come and help, more resources are willing to actually come in to actually help you, and potentially selling stuff that actually sustain the whole model of the social business. So these are things that potentially that we're working on to actually drive the metrics and so on. So that's something that we have done, and that's something that's the reason why we want you guys to actually work on that reflection, which is some simple stuff. Some very nicely written and so on. Sometimes you might be lazy that week, but that's okay. But sometimes that whole idea is you hopefully when you see something, it might be a skill related thing, it might be a knowledge related thing, it might be an attitude. Hopefully you have an attitude that you actually look into and reflect on how that works and so on.